When he comes into office in the morning with his wingtip shoes and his coat buttoned and his tie closed, and ask for a cup of coffee, whether he's hungover or not, I get the feeling he's coming back to home base. He's coming back to the one part of his life that holds together, including, and this is true of a lot of people, it's true of me, coming to work is a good thing in the morning. I mean, I just think it's great. Those of us lucky enough to love our jobs, his coming to work seems to be like he's coming to home base to me. What's that about?
You know, you have a workplace story here, and I definitely think, you know, I agree with, I think, Freud, who said that those are the two goals, to love and to work. And I think he is happy at his job. I think he feels some sense of control. We've shown over and over in the show, like, you know, during the Kennedy assassination and different times when things are desperate, Don goes back to work. And I think America is like that. You know, when Kennedy was shot, we didn't have a 2-week, you know, mourning period and have the body laying in state or anything. They had one day, and they wanted everybody back to work on Tuesday. And I thought that was so strange when I looked back at it, and then I thought, no, that's who we are. Those of us who are lucky enough to have jobs and to love our jobs, absolutely. But for Don, that's an expression, I think, of control, of his imagination, and I think it's the thing he aspired to his whole life, so he gets to live there. Yeah, I think it's and I think we've sort of shown also that the people that are there, he can be closer to, too, which
you know, it's interesting, you and Tom Wolfe are fascinating, because Tom Wolfe says that even if you're Jewish, you're in the police department in New York, you have to talk a certain way like the Irish guys, too. You got to use bad English. And what you've done, you know, the old expression, dress British, think Yiddish, and you've made a point where everybody begins, the women even, not just the Jewish kid, the young guy, the creative writer, but everybody begins to try to act like Don Draper. They all try to get in tell us about that, why we all get into that uniform of, not WASP exactly, but certainly Manhattan professional.
I think it is WASP. I think it's the white power elite, and without being, you know, it's not a political statement, it's an observation that Don, you know, like a lot of the successful men in particular of the 20th century, yearned to be a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. And no matter, a lot of them had, you know, came from rural poverty and sort of hid their backgrounds and put on that uniform. That is the person who runs this country. And whether it's, you know, it's just the form that it takes. And I love that in a way there is a sort of uniform to it, but it's very limiting. And I think people get there and you can never shake off who you are. And even people, you know, like John D. Rockefeller spent their life sort of, you know, trying to hide where they came from.